Hello guys, my name is Vaj'na, Tom's or Vivi, was ever easier. Actually for this segment though, you can call me the Hid-Trap-denitis queen because I'm going to be talking to you about something very serious. I'm in a light mood because, you know, it's better to be positive than negative about it. And the subject though is very serious. But I'm going to be talking to you today about hidradenitis suppurativa, and it's a chronic skin disease that a lot of people suffer from. A lot of people suffer through this silently. It's very painful, and it affects you. It affects you spiritually, it affects you physically, of course, emotionally, and sexually. And nobody is really talking about how to deal with this in all of those aspects. So if you are interested in what this could possibly be about, and just to give you a brief overview of what it is, I said it was a long-term chronic skin disease, but to be in more depth, it is characterized by inflamed, swollen lumps, boils, cysts, however, in that whole nature, and they occur in places where the body rubs against each other. That can mean your underarms, under your breast, your groin, even your buttocks. Anywhere where the skin touches is where these breakouts can occur, and they are caused by inflammation. A lot of people don't even know, they suffer from this and they don't even know what it is. So if you are interested and if you feel like it affects you or somebody that you know or you love, then stay tuned, because I'm going to be talking about hidradenitis, exactly what it's caused by. I'm going to be giving you a little bit of history about my experience. I've had this for over almost 15 years, but I was diagnosed, officially diagnosed with it about 10 years ago. But even before then, I had been dealing with it and I just didn't know what it was. So I'm going to be talking to you about my past experiences, how it was in high school and even childhood when I first got my very first bump. And I'm going to be talking about things you should never do if you feel it's something that you have. And I'm going to be talking about pretty much how to treat it. Okay. So if you're still tuned in, that means either you know about hidradenitis, you have it, you know someone that does, or you're just curious, a little more curious about what it is, because you may have seen some dark spots in between your legs before and you just thought, well, that's just how pigmentation is supposed to be. So, alright, I'm glad that you are still here. So, what is hidradenitis? HS, the uglies, aka the monsters. I mean, I've heard so many nicknames that pretty much describe how it feels to have hidradenitis, okay? And so the Google definition would be acne inversa, but I'm just going to tell you in my words what it is. What happens when you become diagnosed with this disease, okay? You have an immune system. You have something called white T blood cells, okay? Whenever you get sick with the cold, the flu, any type of disease, these white T cells, they are like pit bulls, okay? They are doing their best. They'll put their life down to fight it. So when your body feels attacked, your white T cells step up and they fight against the disease, whatever it could be. All right? That's a good thing. The downside to that is that white T cells, they don't care. They coming for everybody, even if you are caught in the crossfire. So you're getting some kind of collateral damage when your white T cells are trying to attack something that they don't know what it is. Because what happens with hidradenitis is your white T cells is actually attacking you. It's attacking your sweat glands. So that means when you sweat, you're sweating like regular people, but you're not releasing the toxins that you should be. And when that happens, these cysts or these bumps, they can occur. And some of them, sometimes when I say it can be painful, I mean sometimes it can be painful. There have been days where I couldn't even sit down. Some days where I just want to sit in my room and cry all day and not do nothing. So when I'm telling you it affects you more than just physically, it really affects you. And a lot of people aren't talking about it because it's kind of an embarrassing topic to talk about. When you see a breakout, you think like, oh my goodness, yuck. Like, what is this? Like, I mean, does it mean I'm dirty? And I'm going to talk about myths too. If you have hidradenitis, it doesn't mean you're dirty. It's not a STD. It's not contagious. Okay? It's just something that your skin reacted to, the inside of your body has acted to and has reacted and is responding strongly. And I've been through the whole doctor thing. I've been through the antibiotics. I've been through Accutane. I'm going to talk about medications too and treatment later on. And they all tell you the same thing. They call it a case of bad luck. And let me tell you how annoying it is when you go to the doctors. Oh my gosh, I cannot stand going to the doctor, especially about this, because it's just like you telling me the same thing. I feel like all they do is go to the back and Google it and try to refresh themselves, and then they come back in the room with some information like that I got Google on my phone too. Like, can you tell me something different? I mean, it's frustrating. It's frustrating going to the doctors about this. But anyway, I'm going to start from the history of it. I had my first breakout when I was 5 years old. It wasn't really a breakout. It was a bump. And this story, I call it the pimple butt bump. Okay? Because I was 5 years old. I didn't even know anything about acne. Okay? I was 5. But I knew I had a bump on my butt. So back then, I was born in 93. I'm 25. I'm just kidding. So back in the the 90s era, nobody really knew what it was. I don't even know if there was a name for it. But I knew I had a bump on my butt and it was uncomfortable. So I went to my parent and I was like, I got a bump on my butt. And my aunt was, let me see it. So pull down my pants. I'm on her bed and I just showed her the bump. And she was like, that's a pimple. You all right. Your butt stink. So I was like, okay. And at 5 years old, if your parent ain't worried about it, you not worried about it. And that was that. Cool. I think it went away eventually, and I ain't seen no more of it, so I didn't speak about it. It wasn't until about my preteen years, I want to say my first year after high school, I would say 13 years old. I started high school at 13. And I would have these occasional little bumps come up under my arms, and I didn't really know what it was. I knew I was going through puberty, and I had no idea that hormones was affected by this disease, and maybe it was hormones that triggered it, but to come back. But I noticed that it was there, and I tried to ignore it. I ain't even tell my aunt about it this time. I was just like, whatever, it's not a big deal. But I want to say after my sophomore year, well, the beginning of my sophomore year of high school, I tried out for the band, and I made it, and I even became color guard captain. And let me tell you how hard it was to smile and walk around with bumps starting to come up underneath my arms and me not even knowing where it was. I used to be able to wear like the little tank tops where I could just lift my arms in the air and it wasn't a big deal. And then one day my captain at the time, she was like, what is that under your arms? And I just felt like really embarrassed because I didn't know how to answer it. So after that day of practice, I wore t-shirts and I never wore a tank top again to school. not by itself anyway. I always had a jacket or something to cover me. It could be 90 degrees outside, y'all. I had on my jacket or my cardigan because it's hard to explain what it is. And one time it got so bad in class that I excused myself to the bathroom, and when no one was, I made sure everyone was out the bathroom, and I lifted my arm up and I could literally see like the skin, y'all, the skin. And I'm telling you, it was painful. You know, I used to think I was going to get in trouble because my bathroom trips were always like 10 minutes, like minimum. I was in the bathroom at least 10 minutes when I excused myself to the bathroom. People probably thought I was in there blowing it up, but no, I was in. So, long story short, it got bad to the point where I did speak about it again, and I told my aunt. Eventually, she made me an appointment to see a dermatologist, and it was 14 years old when I was diagnosed with hidradenitis suppurativa. Alright, so now that I've talked about the history and given you from my opinion and research, I mean, I've been going through this for years, but I've been researching it. Well, I'll say I've been going through this for, I've had over a decade of experience, but I have just years of research. So if I glance down, it's because I've researched this and I'm coming out to you about this. This isn't anything that's made up. This is facts. So now that I've discussed a little bit of history about where it comes from, I'll go ahead and tell you if it's something that you think you might have or something you've experienced. I don't care how small it is, y'all. It could be a pimple butt bump. If you see anything irregular on your body, do not ignore it. Do not take it lightly, because I'm telling you, the earliest it is attended to or it is recognized, you're saving yourself some severe future grief. Like, do not ignore it if it's something that you think you have. Which brings me to 3 things you should never do if you have hidradenitis or if you think you have hidradenitis, okay? 1, keep it to yourself. I know it's shameful. I know it's embarrassing. You don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. But you can't keep it to yourself, because when you do that, it goes back to this whole psychological thing. It will affect you mentally. It'll affect you socially. It'll affect you sexually. It's something that you cannot keep to yourself. And when I talk about how it affects you in those different aspects of sexually, you're going to see why it's important that you don't keep it to yourself with your sex partner, okay? Second thing you should never do, avoid it. I had already said that before. It was probably the first thing. It should have been number 1. Avoid it. It won't go away on its own. And if it does, like it did when I was 5 years old, it's going to come back more aggressive. Treat it as early as possible. Don't avoid it. If you feel like you have it, go see a dermatologist. Go to a doctor. Let them, the earlier the diagnosis, the easier it'll be to treat it. Okay? There is no cure, by the way. They're going to tell you there is no cure. Let me tell you, there is a cure. And that cure is consistency. That cure is a lifestyle. That cure is going to cost you you're going to be sacrificing. Okay? And I'll get into more of the treatment a little down the road. So that's the second thing. Do not ignore it. And the third thing, which brings me to my third point, not let this go untreated, okay? Don't let it go untreated, okay? From my experience, I don't know how progressive they've been as far as the pharmaceutical companies have been about treatment of this disease. But when I went to the doctor, they were offering you Accutane. I'm going to tell you what Accutane is. Accutane is a beast. Now, Accutane did help me. Okay, Accutane is a pill, and it's something that they give people with severe acne. So you have to get your blood drawn. every time you take it. So that was monthly. To get another prescription, you had to go to the doctor. They had to test your blood. You had to make sure you was not pregnant. You can't get pregnant on this. Don't do it. They won't let you take it. But it did help me. I was probably the only one in school, only teenager with no breakouts on my face, skin just glowing and clear. And it did help the other parts of my body as well, but there was still a downside to Accutane. With Accutane, it dries your skin out really bad. So my skin was dry all the time. I had to kind of change the products that I was using. I went from lotion to using oil. My aunt used to buy us all baby oil gel, and I literally put that. I had to wear baby oil gel. It was the only thing that my skin would hold. Also, with Accutane, it's really hard on your liver. So I found myself getting bruises earlier in the game. Like, if I got a bruise, it would take a long time to, for it to go away, because that's what the liver does. The liver helps. You need your liver. You need those organs. And looking back now, I can tell you, if you take a medication and any side effects that say they mess with any of your organs, like your important organs, I would just say leave it alone. It's not worth it, because at the end of the day, Accutane did not cure me. I was on Accutane for maybe a year. And after that, the doctor was about to put me on an insulin. And it just got to a point where I was 15, 16. I don't want to be on all this medication. Not even understanding that, all the full effect of side effects. I just knew that it was something that I ain't want to do. But no one was talking about any other holistic, natural, healthier alternatives. Those are the alternatives that I take, the approach that I take now. I don't really mess with pharmaceutical medications. I'm not telling you not to. If you want to take antibiotics and you want to get on Accutane and insulin and all those other, things that they've got right now, cool. Do what works for you. But for me, I was tired of being on medication. And actually, what you see behind me is these are all of my products that I pretty much use to help me naturally treated, because a lot of people think that they can go out to the store and buy all this topical stuff. Look, because I was the one. Anything that said scar remover, anything that said dark spot treatment, or it'll brighten your skin up, I was buying it. But it took me a long time to realize that it's not the outside of your skin that just decided to have these boils. The disease starts on the inside. So if you want to treat the disease, the best way to go about it is treating the inside out. Just how you love somebody, you gotta love from the inside out. I had to treat this from the inside out because it started on the inside and it manifested on the outside. Do you understand what I'm saying? All right, it manifested from your outside, but it started on the inside. It started with inflammation. So I had to attack the inflammation. I said in the beginning, I gave you all these names. I gave you my government, Vaj'na. I gave you my nickname. But during these segments of when I'm talking about hidradenitis, you really gonna have to refer to me as the Hid-Trap-denitis queen, because I have learned how, and I'm still learning. I don't know everything. I'm not perfected in it. I still sometimes have breakouts. It's still a journey, It's still a journey. You learn what works. You learn what doesn't work. But I'm still beautiful. I'm still a queen. And I'm going to teach you guys as best as I know how to boss this disease right back. Don't let it bully you. Don't let it take over your life, because it really can affect you in those ways and make you feel like it's holding you back from the full potential of your life. Even, as a teenager, learning what aspirations were and what it meant to have a dream, I knew that this disease would always hold me back. Eventually, it was going to hold me back, because It's hard to be a model when you can't show your arms, and when you can't stand in a bikini because you're scared that the inside of your leg is a dark spot or a scar might show. You know, it really does affect you. It affects you in so many ways, which is gonna bring me to the next segment of this video. I am trying to, I'm looking out for the time. I'm like that pastor, like, look, I ain't gonna keep y'all here that long, but the Lord said. So, how does it affect you? It affects you physically. I've already told you how. In those spots where you break out, that is the physical effect of hidradenitis. What is the mental effect? Well, just like I said, the mental effect of it is feeling like, dang, this is really gonna hold me back from some things. I'm really gonna have to play it safe. I can't live my life to the fullest now. Socially, like I said, that day and band practice. And let me tell you guys, for those who don't know what color guard is, okay, in the band, let me tell you, it's when you hold this 6-foot pole with a flag on it, and I mean, but it affected me because in these breakouts, there would be times where we would have to hold our hand in the air like this, holding the pole for 5 minutes, 10 minutes sometimes, and don't make them mad. Like, it was so hard on me, but it pushed me to be better at it. It pushed me to beat this because I wasn't going to let it break me. But when I'm telling you, people just be like, oh, I'm tired of holding it like this. Let me tell you, boo boo, that's nothing compared with breakouts. You know what I'm saying? But I did band for 3 years. I didn't quit. And I'm telling you, don't quit. If you got a dream, if you have an aspiration, don't let this disease bully you. Take control back over your life. You can do whatever you want to do. And I have to tell myself that every day sometimes. Like, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. All right? Don't let it hold you back. It's easy to get addicted to the pain of things, but don't let it be your crutch. Don't let it be the reason why people show you sympathy. See, I despise sympathy. That's why I didn't tell people, because I didn't want people feeling bad for me. I hate pity. You understand? So I didn't want to talk about it. I ain't telling anybody unless I had to, which brings me to the fourth way this affects you. Nobody talks. I've watched all the YouTube channels of hidradenitis, and let me tell you, nobody is talking about sex, what it's like to have a sex life with hidradenitis. Okay, I had to tell anybody that I was intimate and what they gonna see, because like I said, when you don't have it or you on the outside looking in, you gonna be like, what you got going on down there? Because if you have breakouts, and I didn't really have breakouts like that in between my legs, but what I did have was dark spots. And with me being kind of light skinned, it was obvious. Okay, it was hard to hide it, and I had to be honest with my sex partners. More so when you're a teenager, you know how that young love is. It's actually the purest. It's the most honest. It gets harder when you get older. For my young ladies that are watching this, try to figure out what's going on with your body. As your body will go through these changes, you will go through puberty. Pimples are normal. Pimples under your arms, not normal. Okay, just putting that out there. If you see anything irregular, please make sure that you speak up about it. But back to my point, especially young ladies coming up, when you are trying to date with hidradenitis, and I may just do a separate video all on its own about how to date with hidradenitis, but I'll go ahead and just put it in here. Be very careful, because some people will accept you for who you are. If they love you, they will. As you get older and you start going into college and things, some people won't care. They won't even ask questions. That's a little scary. You might want to watch the ones that don't ask questions. The ones that do are a little more genuine. The ones that don't care, they got something going on. They got some motives. They ain't really there for you anyway. They just want one thing anyway, and they don't care what you got for them to get it. If that makes sense. But just be very careful. I'm going to go ahead and bring this video to a conclusion. It has been long enough, but I will be putting out more videos, guys, about treatment, not just talking about it like I did in this video, but I'm going to be showing you some of the things that I use, the things that worked. I'll be talking about how to shop for hidradenitis care cost effectively, because this condition is very expensive, or it can be. Okay, guys, to wrap this up, I'm going to just close with this. If this video has helped you at all, just give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my page and click the thumb bell so that you'll be notified when I post new videos. What I'm trying to do out here is I'm trying to place an awareness. That's my little sunshine. And really, let me hurry up. So I'm putting awareness out there because it's so many people hiding with hidradenitis in the dark, and it's time for us to step out into the light, come out about this. I know it's hard to talk about, and for the those of you who don't have it, trust me, 200,000 people alone just in this country have it, and those are just the ones that are reporting it. They're the ones that are still in the closet, not coming out about it. So there's even more people out there. If you have a friend, a sister, a loved one, anybody who may be suffering from this, or you think is suffering from this, signs would be low self-esteem, covering their body constantly, even in hot weather. Those are the things to look for if you feel like someone you love may have them. It's okay to come out about it. Just spread the awareness. Let them know that there are many others going through the same thing, and I'm here to help you guys. We're going to walk through this thing together. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry sometimes. But this is about us. This is about an effective support, group. This ought to be a movement, really. We need to be out there marathoning, walking and running for hidradenitis, because this is serious, okay? But it doesn't have to be detrimental. It doesn't have to put you in depression, okay? You can still live your best life, and that's why I'm here, so that we can all collaborate together. If there's anything that you want to add, or anything that you may have questions about, or what you want to hear from me next, I will be posting more videos about, like I said, about treatment, the things that I use. I'm going to be coming out with a hidradenitis diet video, things that will fight inflammation. So just stay tuned. Thank you guys so much. Love you. Bye-bye.